What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Terence Bud Crawford. Terence Crawford and Errol Spence were in the same place at the same time to support the Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Maurice Hooker fight. Hooker, of course, is from Dallas, which is the hometown of Errol Spence. Of course, Hooker is trained by Bomac, which, of course, is the trainer of Terence Crawford. So the commonality of it all is those guys. That's the link to those two guys. Okay, Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. And the thing I want to talk about was what was asked of Terence Crawford about Errol the True Spence. And Terence Crawford basically was like, you know what? I don't really think that fight's going to happen. I'm not even really interested in that fight. I'm not even chasing that fight. You know, and a lot of people had a lot of mixed reviews, and people want to know what I feel about it. Let me counterpunch. Terence Crawford is a guy, he reminds me a lot of now how Vasyl Lomachenko felt when he started moving up in weight and what politics was really all about. I mean, before Lomachenko lost, mind you, but Lomachenko went from 126 to 130, 130 to 135, okay? And then, you know, and he learned that the politics of the game, these fighters don't want to fight, the promoters don't want them to fight, the money ain't enough, the networks are all wrong or not, you know, where they need to be, or they don't deal with those particular things. Everything happened. Terence Crawford seen this firsthand, and it made him sick. It made him bitter. It made him resentful to the point, you know what? I don't really give a shit. And you can't blame Terence Crawford at that, because you know if anybody put any energy into wanting that fight, it was Terence Crawford. It wasn't Errol Spence. Errol Spence can fight Terence Crawford, but they want to pull the wool over your eyes and give you the perception that it's about money. It's not about money. You know, the money comes in where the risk is. It's somewhat about money, but that's not the whole thing. Because we've seen Errol Spence fight guys for way less than what they were offered or whatever. And now he's talking about playing numbers with the game. I mean, playing games with the numbers. You know, when you fuck around, be 80-20 and all that. You know, like, if you, look, you know people's energy. If they want something, their actions are going to show what they want. Simple. And Terence Crawford saw this and heard all that, like, dude's 30, 70. Come on, man. I'm the Ring Magazine. I'm the fucking undisputed junior welterweight champion. You guys treat me as a slouch. But what it is, they don't want to fuck with Terence Crawford because they're not convinced that they would win. And Errol Spence is a very good fighter. However, him being a very good fighter don't really mean it, or doesn't definitely guarantee him at all to beat Terence Crawford. And Terence Crawford will be another guy that beats all these guys, that fights all of them, and they don't want to fight him. So, I mean, what's Terence Crawford going to do? I mean, at this point, you don't blame the man for just being, hey, you know what? I don't even really want to talk about that, because it's like that fight's been pushed around, and that's what they do over the PBC. Look at Errol Spence and Keith Thurman. Nobody really wants to see that fight anymore. That was the fight to make, though, 3 years ago. Right? But now, nobody gives a shit. In a few more years, Terence Crawford and Errol Spence, if they never fight, trust me, that fight no one would want to see that fight. Okay, the buzz will just downcline to just fizz out. And that's exactly what's going to happen. But you can't blame Terence Crawford for being the way he is. In fact, the man's talking about going to 154 because the 147 division is full of PBC Fox fighters. And those guys, fighting those guys is difficult. Hell, they're difficult within each other. Errol Spence and Keith Thurman. So it's not guaranteed about the network. It's about the people that work or fight on the network. The way that they're allowed to do certain things and the way that their quote-unquote advisor advises them is not cool at all. It's not a good thing. It's definitely not a good thing for boxing. It's just a good thing for, hey, take this easy fight, I'll give you a lump sum. Take this easy fight, I'll give you more than what that fight's worth. If you take this fight over here, then we can do this, and then we'll set up a fight with this guy down the line. But what ends up really happening? One of them gets beaten and the fight doesn't matter anymore. Look at Keith Thurman. It doesn't matter anymore. He's beaten. Now, if he'd have beat Manny Pacquiao, that would have been a different story. But it didn't. Manny Pacquiao tapped that ass. So it is what it is. But that's my take on it. I think Terence Crawford is just, like bitter. He's like tired of talking about it. Exhausted with the bombardment of the questions asked. When are you going to fight Spence? And Spence talking about, I ain't coming over there. Why he come over here messing with me? I don't want to come to his ESPN. That type of shit. Like, who gives a fuck about a network, really? You know what I mean? So if these fighters are that worried about a network, that means you motherfuckers are in a cult. I'm sorry. You're in a cult promotional outfit. But anyway, that's another story. You guys tell me what you think of Terence Crawford saying that I don't care about that fight at all. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunching. Peace.